Oh, hello. My name is Danielle Davis. I'm the K-5 French teacher at Sage International School in Boise, Idaho. I've been at Sage for 10 years since its doors opened in 2010. And this is the presentation that I gave to ACTFL, American Council for Teachers of Foreign Language, at the ACTFL conference in Washington, D.C. in November 2019. I presented with Kelly Arispe, who is a Boise State University professor. And in this presentation, which I will give in two parts, the first part, I lay out the state of things, where we're at with K-5 language instruction, what the current models are, and what the current challenges are with that model, with those models. And then in the second half of my presentation, I will show you what I'm doing. I'll give you a window into my program and how I have begun to reimagine what K-5 language instruction can look like. So the research shows that it takes over 700 hours of instruction for a student to reach an advanced proficiency level of speaking in another language. That means that K-5 language programs are essential. If we really want to graduate high school students who are biliterate with English in another language, then we have to start early. And K-5 language programs are an essential cornerstone for creating a K-12 continuum that empowers students to graduate biliterate in English in another language. We need this for the economic future of our country. Currently, we have two models, two options for K-5 language instruction. The first is immersion and dual immersion, which is amazing, and we really need more of this. But for schools and districts that do not have dual immersion options due to funding or staffing, we currently have an exploratory model. One teacher for an entire elementary program, and the students get that second language once a week. Well, 10 years ago, these are my guinea pigs here, my own kids, and 10 years ago when my son, Graham, was getting ready to start kindergarten, we were looking for schools for him. In Boise at that time, the Boise School District was launching a dual immersion Spanish program, which was great, and we looked into that. But I'm a French teacher, and I really wanted French options for him. Amazingly, Sage was getting ready to open their doors that fall, and they had chosen French as the language that all students K-12 would get. So I launched myself into that with all of my might, and Graham started there as a kindergartner the very first year. My daughter Claire was born actually a week before school started that very first year at Sage, and we threw ourselves wholeheartedly into this wonderful opportunity of providing once a week K-5 language French instruction to a whole group of young kids. Now, I quickly ran into the challenge that every K-5 once a week language teacher runs into, and it's the numbers, the sheer numbers. When you are one teacher, that's me right there, one teacher for an entire elementary program, the teacher to student ratio is huge. I, in my own program, have 20 sections, kindergarten through 5th grade. That means I have 480 students, and I see them once a week. Ratio-wise, that means if I forgo lunch and prep and bathroom breaks, I get an average of 3.5 minutes per week with each student. So, daunting challenge, right? And when I think about being able to provide, quality instruction to students on that amount of time per week, it's really daunting. It feels like this, honestly, right? I feel like I'm being blown out of the water every day by that challenge. And for the students, it can tend to feel like we're all going along at the same pace and it's way too slow, right? Students are not advancing in the way that they feel like they can and want to. So whole group instruction really ends up feeling inadequate most of the time in this model. But honestly, that is not the biggest challenge. The real challenge is what I lovingly refer to as my airdrop students. These are the brand new students that I get every year in every class, right? This is not dual immersion. So if a new student comes to Sage in 3rd grade, no experience, they're dropped into a 3rd grade section, right? And they come with their 3rd grade class to French. So having new students come into the program every year into an ongoing program can tend to, well, this is what it looks like for me, okay? This is my current 5th grade class. I have 3 sections of 5th grade, and in those 3 sections of 5th grade, these stars here represent the students that started with me in kindergarten, right? And then these 2 students arrived as new students in 1st grade, and then I got a few more in 2nd grade, and these students here came new in 3rd grade, a few more in 4th grade, and I have 3 brand new 5th graders this year, 1 in each of my 3 sections. So what impact does that have on the progress of an ongoing group of students when you have a brand new student with no experience dropped right into the middle of everything? Well, what happens here is that in the dual immersion model, if a student doesn't join that path in kindergarten or 1st grade, then they are locked out. They don't have an opportunity to take that path. In the once a week model, we take all comers, but it definitely has an impact on that student and on the students that they join with. And this is what that impact looks like. Either the new student doesn't ever really get a way to jump on in and start swimming with the others, and they're left sitting on the sidelines. That fails them because they never get an opportunity to get into the swim of things. Or what's more often the case is that the entire class is held back and left shuffling around in the wading pool year after year for the sake of those new students. And that fails everybody. So we need a new model. So I'm proposing that with a reimagined schedule and structure combined with a mastery model, that we truly can give all students a way to wade in and push off and start swimming. And a window into that model, how I created it, and what it looks like is what I'm going to talk to you about in part 2 of this presentation. I hope you'll click on that and join me there.